One of the things that is actually most concerning to me about where our culture is at right now is, frankly, not who ultimately ends up the victor of the 2020 election. And I'm not going either way on this, guys. I'm really trying to temper my expectations. I'm trying to stay in the middle to see that there is absolutely a path for Trump, and there is obviously a path for Biden, who the media has already anointed. And whoever wins, there's going to be a metric F ton of people that are going to suffer a great disappointment in the whole thing, which is why I'm trying to remain just relatively neutral, because I don't actually think that that is the biggest question of our time. However, the nonsense around prematurely declaring Biden as the winner in this, it's almost empowered the media and empowered the left to start coming out with things that are downright crazy and things that are showing this Orwellian vision of the future. And here's my biggest concern. It's that we are going to, moving forward, exist in a reality where we don't know what the actual truth is unless we were there to witness it. This is why video is always so important. Frankly, like, if someone doesn't have video of something, you have to question why at this point, because it seems as though everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, everyone has a motive. Everyone has, you know, an underlying motive of what they want to have happen, and an innuendo, if you will. And it's creating this place where it's going to become very difficult to distinguish between what actually happened and someone's very subjective interpretation of what happened. Now, I get in disagreements with a lot of you guys sometimes, because I do think that reality is a subjective thing. I do. I think there are multiple ways that you can look at it, and thinking about why people look at reality in multiple different ways is actually the much more interesting part of the equation. But we always have to start from a place of, this either happened or it didn't happen. We can't get to the why. What happened is the objective part. The subjective part is why it happened. We can't effectively get at the why if we can't come to simple agreement on the what. And the what is at stake in our culture right now, where people are fundamentally changing what is going on and reporting on something as if it's true, even if it never happened. And I'm going to give you 3 articles this morning that just popped up on my Twitter just this morning that are an example of what I'm talking about, where if you read these things, you have major media outlets trying to convince you of a narrative that is simply not true. This is incredibly dangerous. And you know, the media is walking a really tight rope. Actually, you know, let's just be honest. The media has already jumped off the cliff to crazy town, whatever. We're not going to be able to get that back anytime soon. But what we do need to be aware of and be diligent of is not allowing ourselves to be gaslit based on whatever story the media wants to tell us at any given time. It's going to become much more important for you to check your sources, to go back, to look at what actually happened, and then to make your own decisions. And yeah, guys, that includes anything I say. I am offering opinions on this channel. I'm not offering objective reality most of the time. I might talk about some things that happened, but it's always within the frame of reference of offering my own opinion about what happened. Was it good? Was it bad? What ways can we look at this? You need to keep me in check just as much as you keep everyone else in check that you're watching and consuming content from, whether that be the mainstream media, whether that be alternative news sources, whatever. I think alternative news sources are going to become much more prolific in the coming years because of the downright distrust that the media has earned based on how they've behaved over the last several years. But let's jump into this. Let's look at some stories that illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the first one. This is from CBS News. YouTube won't take down videos falsely claiming Donald Trump won the election. Guys, this headline right here is not objective reporting. This headline is bashing YouTube for not doing what CBS News wants them to do. It's framing the dang story before we even get into it. YouTube is choosing not to take down a video claiming that Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election, highlighting that its digital media critics call a more permissive approach to allowing misinformation on the platform compared with social media peers Facebook and Twitter. And by the way, we need to talk about how Facebook and Twitter are not the arbiters of truth. They have very subjective fact checkers that are inserting their opinions into things and removing content based on their opinions and on their perspectives rather than an argument of whether or not something is true. President Trump won 4 more years in the office last night. North Carolina, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin are all Trumps. A woman says a woman in a video. Says a woman in a video. Newsflash, CBS News. YouTube is a place where literally anyone can upload videos talking about what they want. That's what makes YouTube great, at least for right now, until they try to just become another mainstream news outlet. Whatever, we're not at that place yet. But this woman, this mystery woman in this video, is allowed to say these things. And the irony of all things of CBS News, a news outlet, not understanding that the First Amendment allows people to say whatever the flip they want, that is frightening. The fact that this article exists in the form that it does, this is frightening. YouTube added a box in below the video noting the election results were not final, including a link to a Google search. On the vote counts on Saturday, YouTube updated the box to say the AP had declared Biden the winner of the election. You know what? I have no problem with any of those things because guess what? The AP did declare Biden the winner of the election. Now, was the AP right to do that? Well, I don't think so. I don't think there was any reason for the media to declare Biden as the winner yesterday, given that there is a long legal process that's going to take out in the courts. And frankly, if Trump ends up winning the election based on the legal battle that he's fighting, and, you know, watch Scott Adams today because he did a really great Periscope this morning talking about why Trump absolutely still does have a shot at turning this around. I mean, how crazy is the media going to look if Trump ends up actually winning this? The media has put themselves in a really precarious position right now where they have basically thrown all of their eggs in one basket. And if Donald Trump manages to pull this off, he basically just stomped on that basket, threw it against the wall. They are going to have no eggs left. No one is ever going to trust the media again. And it will be a bed that they have created for themselves. Despite the video's claims that former Vice President Joe Biden is projected to win the electoral votes, blah, 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 the video titled Trump Won was posted to YouTube on Wednesday by One America News Network, which has more than 1 million subscribers. The video has gotten more than 425,000 views and 37,000 thumbs up. Another video on YouTube titled They're Trying to Steal the Vote asked watchers to send money to a PayPal account called MAGA First News. Guys, they are allowed to do this. People are allowed to do this, CBS. In a statement to CBS Money Watch, a spokesperson for YouTube says its policy prohibits videos that include harassment, hate speech, and incitement to violence, and the content that they're talking about didn't actually violate their terms of service. But CBS doesn't like that. CBS doesn't like that people are allowed to have different opinions than what CBS is telling them to think. That is the crux of why this is the most problematic. And I hate using that word, but that is what is at issue here. CBS is putting out something claiming that it is a news story that is basically a whiny article complaining that people have different opinions than what CBS News wants them to have. This is fundamentally dangerous to our country. Right here, this right here, when news media outlets cannot bear that average people disagree with them or have different perspective of the world, you guys better, you buckle up, because I think the next several years are going to be really interesting. But that's not the only article I have. How about this one from LGBTQ Nation? Joe Biden will be the first president to enter the White House supporting marriage equality. I'm sorry, what? No, wrong, lies. That is a lie. How many people right now actually believe that this is the truth? This is a downright lie. Donald Trump was the first president to enter office supporting gay marriage, full stop, period. This should not be in dispute anywhere. The only thing that makes it in dispute is that the media has lied about it for 4 flipping years. And Joe Biden, and guys, back when I was 17, 18 years old, I was literally campaigning for civil unions in the state of Vermont. Civil unions were the precursor to gay marriage. Vermont was the first state to pass them. That was the first venture I had into politics. I was volunteering to help that effort out in Vermont. So yeah, on this issue, I've paid attention to it quite closely. Now, I know a lot of people think I'm a lesbian. I'm actually not. I'm not part of the LGBT community, except when they do this weird thing where they call me queer because I don't ascribe to traditional feminine stereotypes, whatever. I'm not part of that community. I just feel very strongly that people should be able to love who they love. And so this has always been an issue that's been important to me. Joe Biden was not in favor of gay marriage until the polls told him to be in favor of it. Joe Biden, when he was elected as the vice president of the United States under Barack Obama, was not in favor of gay marriage, and neither was Barack Obama. This is a blatant, downright lie. And these things need to be called out because they are literally trying to rewrite history. But how about this one? How about this one from the Daily Mail today? Official data is exaggerating the risk of COVID, and talk of a second wave is misleading. 500 academics tell Boris Johnson in an open letter attacking the lockdown. I'm sorry, what? A week ago, this article would not have been written. A week ago, this would not have come out. And now, oh, magically, just like many of us have been saying for months that COVID was going to go away as soon as the election was over, magically, what's happening? We're seeing articles like this saying, you know what, that risk, it's not that big of a deal. We're saying people can have indoor rock concerts. Keep in mind that anyone who has wanted to go and visit their parents in a nursing home for months has not been allowed to do that. People who wanted to have a funeral to remember their relatives who died, many of them of COVID, have not been allowed to do that. People have been told to cancel Halloween. People have been told to cancel Thanksgiving, all up until this week, when magically the media starts spinning this other narrative. So the point of this video is not to point out all of the nonsense lies that the media is saying, although we could absolutely do that all day. The point of it is that you need to be vigilant. The media is going to gaslight you into trying to get you to believe that things happened that did not happen, or that they said things that they did not say, or that Trump is still this evil Nazi Hitler that needs to be defeated at all costs, and Joe Biden is the perfect savior of humanity. And none of these things are true. None of these things are true. One of the things that's really distressed me in the past several days is the commitment that so many people have to embracing ideas that are not the truth. Because if they actually wanted the truth would be earth-shattering to how they perceive the world. And so they grasp on to these ideas that are simply lies, that are not true, because it is the only way that they can keep their worldview together. Now, you don't want to be one of those people. I never want to be one of those people again, man. Yeah, I understand. You go through an epic amount of cognitive dissonance when you finally start waking up and seeing the truth that the media is the real enemy that all of us have to contend with. And that is true whether or not Trump is president, whether or not Biden is president. To be honest, this might actually end up being a much easier battle to fight if Joe Biden is president and Trump goes off and he creates some sort of network where he's telling these stories all day, every day. I don't know. Maybe if Trump doesn't figure this out, it really could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe we need him in a different role to continue to fight this battle. I don't know. I just made all of that up. Because again, we do have to look at different perspectives here, even though we can fundamentally agree that there is truth, and there are facts that we need to all come to agreement on, like Joe Biden is not the first, would not be, I'm gonna clarify my language. Joe Biden, if he makes it into the White House, would absolutely not be the first president to support marriage equality. That is a downright lie. And we're going to see a lot more stuff like this. And we're going to see media twisting things just like this, where they want everyone to conform to what their opinion is. And we all know that that is not a moderate opinion. That is not a centrist opinion. Sure as heck isn't an opinion on the right. Is an opinion that supports a far left ideology, because that is who right now makes up mainstream media. We have to be vigilant. We have to be looking at primary source documents. We have to be thinking for ourselves. That's the only way to get through any of this productively. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, I do daily content around politics, news, culture, all sorts of things that I might be interested in, so I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that little red subscribe button down below. I have been bleeding subs in the last couple days. I thought it was just because the election was over. Some people were like, you know, taking time off YouTube. I know I'm taking time off of watching a lot of YouTube right now because for my own mental health, but I haven't unsubscribed from anyone. But I think that, you know, just make sure if you want to be subscribed to the channel, just double check, make sure you still are. And if you're new, I would welcome your joining this little family. All right, guys, that's all I have for right now. I'll see you soon.